Hey guys, and welcome to a new build review. Today we're looking at the player Mal'Ganis 2. That name's probably inspired by the Warcraft universe, I'm guessing. And the crazy thing about this player is he has a 5.3 KDA, which is pretty insane. I was happy with a 4 KDA and I'm lower than him, and he's master with a 60% win rate. So yeah, pretty sweet. 5.3 KDA, that's pretty fucking sweet, I would say. I found this build because the player himself wrote in our Shaco club in League of Legends that he found this free elo build, and yeah, so I checked out his OPGG and that's what I'm showing off today. Before we start, first of all, I'm gonna give my opinion on the builds, the masteries and the runes and the playstyle and so on. So if you think differently or you have an opinion that you want to express, then be sure to write them in the comment below without screaming at me like a monkey, because then you will either be ignored most of the time, or if it's too vulgar or something, you will probably be in the filter or I'll remove you. Just a heads up there. Second, I have a Discord now, and I've already announced in the other video, and there's already some people on there and we had some nice chats and talks already, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description below and I'll be on there sometimes. Also, I will be asking questions on that server about videos and ideas, and you can give me your opinion there. But now, without further ado, let's jump right into the build. First off, really basic, going for Hunter's Machete and refillable potion, as always. Now at this point I normally go for boots or Diamond. He pretty much always goes for Diamond here, and sometimes the tier 1 boots, but doesn't finish them into Mobi boots as I do, for example. He builds them fairly late. He builds them either after the first item or the second item. Now to the first item, which is Titanic Hydra. Now in my opinion, as I already stated in the last videos, Titanic Hydra is one of the most stable items still, even after the nerf, because I think the instant proc will always be dominant for burst champions in my opinion, or bruisers as well, because the instant burst with the longer cooldown is just better than getting the little wave clear thingy from the Ravenous Hydra over and over again, in my opinion. For the Hydra itself, we've been over this a lot of times. Gives you a little bit of health, amazing wave clear, the instant burst as mentioned. It's just a great item overall. Now there's 3 options I've seen after he's done it. He's either built a Skirmisher Saber for more dual power, I'm guessing, and whenever I build these kind of builds where I don't build a jungle item, I miss that a lot. So I guess that's not a bad idea to do it, but I'm not quite sure if it's worth to get the Red Smite. But in some matchups where you have to duel a lot, I think it's pretty good. But I've seen him pretty much do it every time. Or he also gets sometimes boots at this point, as I already mentioned. Another option, the third one, was he gets Sheen and Phage first, or Sheen and then boots, or skirmishes and then Phage. I really love getting Sheen pretty early, because when you queue behind someone and you get the Sheen proc off, it feels a little bit more like in the old days where the Q still did more damage, and I just like the Sheen item. Phage, of course, is really nice for chasing, and combined with the skirmisher, the dueling will be pretty nice. You can stick to your enemies nicely, and then when you finish the Titanic Hydra, you get all the amazing stats, the movement speed, the cooldown reduction, the attack speed, the attack damage. Just really stable item overall. I think Trinity or Cleaver are pretty much core, and 75% of the Shaco builds I've seen around at the moment, and Trinity is probably more the cocky option a little bit maybe, or against a team that has 0 tanks. Of course it makes more sense to get this, but even then I actually felt like Black Cleaver in that situation isn't even bad. So I think it comes down to preference, which of the items you prefer. Now for the third item, I was a little bit skeptic as first, is the ZZ Rod Portal. Before the Shaco rework, I used to get that as last item, or after selling the boots, for example, because I built a lot of crits, so I had tons of movement speed already. But after the rework, I haven't really seen anyone build it, but I do still like the item, and it gives you mixed stats, armor and magic resistance, and it also makes tower diving really easy because of the passive, and of course it gives you pressure on other lanes, which is really nice, and everything that adds to controlling the game more is a big plus, especially when you're playing jungle and you already are the most important role, which has been proven by Reddit and Abdo, Faker and so on, and then getting even more options to control the game is pretty freaking sweet. So yeah, to sum up, it gives you nice mix steps and it helps you get a lot of pressure. When, for example, you push with your team bottom lane and your top lane and you have CZ Rod Portal on top and mid lane, then you can just pressure a lot or do Baron and have CZ Rod bot lane or stuff like that. Just always nice to have lanes pushing because of the CZ Rod. This was the core that he was building 75% of the time, I think, and it's a really stable dual build. You're pretty tanky, you have nice burst, and you can push nicely with CZ Rod, so I think it's extremely stable. Also with the ninja tybies that I haven't even mentioned yet, I'm a big fan of Mobi boots, but in this build where you're more fighter extreme Bruiser, I guess, compared to my Blood Razor, which is probably a little bit more aggressive than this, feels really nice to be able to take some hits and also, of course, dish out some nice damage as well. Now, possible items he went after his core items were Infinity Edge, which of course is really nice on Shaco now because of the more percent crit damage passive, and it's just a nice item to get overall more damage, and I think probably the most stable full 80 item that you can get on Shaco at the moment. I'm still not sure about lethality. I've seen a lot of players still take it. For example, the Brazilian challenger main that sometimes visits my stream still uses lethality, but I think Yumus can actually still be useful because of the passive still, even though the attack speed has been nerfed. Okay, now we're getting a little far away from what we're actually talking about. So yeah, Infinity Edge, just a nice stable item. Other tanky options that I saw him go were Randuin's, just stable, armor, nice slow, crit reducing for Yasuo for example, or Jhin, something like that. Another stable item of course, Guardian's Angels, cheat one-time death. It can be really important if you want to just suicide one time and win a teamfight late game. We all know how important that is. Then you can win the game maybe off that because you get one more life. And it's even better in Shaco because after you get taken down, you can probably just Q away again because the Q cooldown will be off again. Now the only last item that I've also seen him build is Lord Dominic's, which is obviously against more tanky matchups. It also gives you more fightability against extreme bruisers like Shyvana at the moment, because you're so tanky as well, you can sustain and duel a lot longer with this. Now the build itself feels really stable. I've pretty much already built this kind of build, but I've added Blood Razor 75% of the time, and also I've been going for Black Cleaver a whole lot as well. But I think in some matchups I might go for this because sometimes you just need more burst and can't even get to attack speed a lot of times. And yeah, I think against more squishier enemies, more mages, carries, something like that, this build is definitely the better option. So this is actually a build that I will probably use a whole lot on my stream from now on. Yeah, nothing really much more to say. This is just really stable and nice build. Now for the mastery, nothing too crazy happening here. Going for Thunderlords in the Cunning Tree and Bounty Hunter in the Ferocity Tree. Now Bounty Hunter is actually a little bit cocky. Double-edged sword of course is the more stable option, but as we see he has a 5-point-something KDA, so he's pretty confident that he's gonna get kills, so I guess he can definitely take this. But if you're not as confident, I would recommend you to go double-edged sword. Now for the runes this time, we actually have something interesting compared to the last ones. He's going for 9 critical damage marks. Now I think I've already uploaded the video comparing attack damage and critical damage, so I might link this here, or you can just look on my channel if I forget it. Now for the seals, he's going for scaling armor per level, which I feel like actually makes a lot of sense. For clearing at least, you don't really need any armor for Shaco if you do it right, because you can just use your boxes. A little tip for red buff or blue buff for example is you can put the box and circle it around from you and the box, so the box can shoot the full duration and still tank 2 hits, so you will get more damage off than if you just let the box tank 2 hits. This slows you down a little as well, so it depends on what you want, but I don't think it's that significant. I just wanted to note this here. Now for glyphs, he's going for scaling MRs as well. Now for the build I've been using most of the time, this is actually a really good option. I'm going for AP glyphs here still, but I'm thinking about changing this around because of the Bruiser build. Going for this is actually a really good idea. He actually builds magic resist, but in my build I don't build it, so the scaling one could actually be really nice nice in late game. But even here, it's still something really nice, because I feel like the build here, because of the really expensive items, is still more of a mid-late build as well. Now the 3 Quins, he goes for critical damage as well, which I'm really not a fan of. I think going for attack speed here is way more viable in my opinion, but I mean, what can I say? He's master, it works for him, so yeah, nothing I can really say about that. Just enhances his backstab, of course. Yeah, that's about everything I have to say about this build runes stuff. Definitely be sure to write me your opinions and thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, just a really stable build overall. You're gonna be seeing that a lot more in my highlights or on my stream. As already stated before the video, I have a Discord and Twitter in the description below, so if you want to have a chat or something like that, you can do so, and I also do stream. I hope you're having an amazing day. See ya!